is up? It's Ashley, aka Yoyo Superstar, and this is the long-awaited Yuuki Slack tutorial, which is probably the most frustrating trick to learn by yourself. So today, before you rip your hair out, I'm going to break it down step by step for those of you who have tried it before and haven't been able to land it, or for those of you who are new to the trick and just like a little extra detail. I've got you covered. Let's do it. So one of the really frustrating things about this trick, if you're trying to learn it, is the tutorials often go really fast and they break it down as a really simple trick, but actually this trick is a little bit nuanced and there's some tips that can actually help you out. So I'm going to be going over those in this video. To get you started with a tip right away, you're probably wondering what yo-yo is going to work best. As you can see through these clips, I'm using lots of different yo-yos, so you can really use what you have. But my preference for this particular trick would be like an H-shaped yo-yo or a V-shaped yo-yo. Something with a nice wide gap to it is going to make the trick easier to land. Also a yo-yo with some added rim weight to it or just feels a little extra balance. You can try that, but you'll see here I'm using our weird Christmas tree yo-yo from Rain City Skills, so you can really use anything. Now your string is different. We need a good string, a new one or one with little to no string tension because it is a slack trick. So if you are reusing a string, make sure to get that string tension out before you start. Sleeves can also be a nuisance to this trick, so I recommend something short sleeve so you can just bounce it off your arm, and also no jewelry or fancy watches. You might hit them and that would suck. Now let's get into the trick itself. You're going to start with the trapeze, nice and easy here, landing it in the mount, and once you land you're going to pinch the string between your thumb and pointer finger and then flip your hand over to make a nice slack. Now you're going to want to arc it pretty big. Right here, I don't have slack. If I put it in the middle, I don't have a lot of slack to work with either. And if I put it too close to my hand, then I'm just gonna run into my hand. So make a nice big slack loop when you flip the yo-yo over. You're gonna see in a minute here that I intercept that with the pointer finger on my throw hand. So watch it here. Boom. So that's why you want the nice big slack loop. You're also going to want to keep that in line as the yo-yo could miss, and you don't want that either. So right there, you land in the mount. Practice that a few times, and that's our first step. You can practice by slowing that slack down too. So now the funny part of this trick is after you land in that mount, you're gonna pop the yo-yo right back off in the opposite direction. So you land here and then you pop it right back off, nice and easy. All right, into the slack part of the trick. You pop the yo-yo off and then up into that top string there. Now you're gonna let that finger go, but I just wanna show you, you don't want it too tight. You don't want it to bounce off of that string or have the string die, which is a really common problem with Yuuki Slack. So give yourself some slight looseness with the string, and then you're going to bring it around in a slack motion. I hit the string and then swirl it around my hand. Here it is again. Now you can see that the string is in front of my yo-yo. It's not like behind it. It's not landing on the string. We're just hitting that string and then twirling it around in front of the yo-yo. Then we're gonna twirl it one more time to get into the next part of the trick. You don't, again, want it behind the yo-yo. You want it to come in front because you're gonna grab that slack loop in a second here. One more time. And around. So take a sec if you're having trouble, watch my hands, watch the string where it's landing in that slack, and if you're still having trouble, keep your hands closer to your body so you have more slack, less tension, and use the momentum of this swing to carry the string around so it's a little bit easier. So then again, that last part is we are catching that slack loop now with our pointer finger facing downwards while the string is in the air. If that's hard, go back to this step where you just pick it up like this, but you'll eventually mix it all together and catch it in the air. And that all together will look like this. There's my two swings, and then I catch it with that pointer finger facing down. Again, catch it in the air like this. One more time, catch it facing down. You can pace that differently depending on how fast you want to go, but don't land it on the string. The yo-yo is going to land off of the string in this configuration. So we'll get to landing it on the string later, but as you're doing it now, we pinch, we flip it over, intercept, kick it off, do 2 slack loops around the yo-yo, and then catch it in the air. Practice all that, we're on to part 2. Part 2, we are putting the yo-yo back on the string essentially, but we're doing that same motion in the other direction. So now the yo-yo string is going to be on the other side of the yo-yo, and we're going to flip it back in the other direction twice, just like in that first part. You don't want a lot of string tension again. You want to use the momentum of the yo-yo to carry that slack around just like in the first time. So that's a demonstration right here of what that is going to look like. Same things to keep in mind. So keep it towards your body, keep the string tension loose, keep it nice and flowy, and keep everything in line. So now you're gonna see, I'm gonna put the yo-yo back onto the string in the opposite direction and drop the slack as it hits it and carry it around twice and catch it with my finger facing up. And then I get to repeat it going back the opposite direction. And that's the full trick of Yuuki slack, going both ways. And again, don't get bent out of shape about speed. I'm going to slow it down here so I bring it back the other way, let the slack carry through, and then you see that slack loop right there, even at a slower pace. So now I'm going to do it full speed. Here's that first part, and part 2, mount it back on, let that slack carry around twice, and then I catch it with my finger facing up this time versus down. And it will land in this configuration with the yo-yo back on the string. So the first time it landed off, now we come from the mount, pop it off, and start that first part again. So it's a repeater, then we can go back on the string. There it's landing on the string with finger up. So pointer finger on your throw hand just goes down, up through the entire trick. And your non-throw hand is just swinging the yo-yo back and forth through the entire trick 2 times each time to make sure that slack carries around. And so you can focus now on where the string is going itself instead of what your hands are doing. You're just flipping your throw hand and swinging your non-throw hand. And again, to start the repeater, you do the first part, you do the second part, and then you just pop the yo-yo off of that mount to start over. So I'm in my mount, I come off of the mount, and then I do those other 2 loops that I did in the beginning. Little review, I pinch it, I flip my hand over and catch that string. I pop the yo-yo off, mount it back on, but I let that string carry around as I flip it around twice and pick it up with my pointer finger facing down. I put it back on in the opposite direction and do the same thing, flipping it 2 times in the other direction, and then I would catch it with my pointer finger facing up. I don't do that here. So that is how that slack is looking. And here I actually miss at the end, but you can see then how the yo-yo gets back onto that string into that mount. It's just a swinging motion like we were doing before. Now you might be looking at this trick like, girl, there are so many parts to it, but actually that first part of the trick is the same as that last part where you catch it with your finger facing up. So here I have it with my finger facing up. Watch when I catch the string there. If I turn it over, it's just the same. So there's really just 2 parts, and it's that classic repeater trick that we always see where it looks the same at the beginning and the end. It's really just looking at your finger positioning. Okay, nothing's gonna change if you flip your finger over. It's exactly the same. And if it's easier for you, just do the first part of the trick with your finger up, and then you'll be able to see the connection between the 2 parts of the trick. And that's really all the tips I have besides practice smoothing it out between those 2 parts and just having some fun with it. Like I said, it can be a frustrating trick, but once you get it down, it's really flowy. You can throw it in your combos. I really hope you guys can get this down, and if you do, let me know. If you have questions or comments, throw them below, and always be respectful. My name's Ashley, aka Yoyo Superstar, and I hope this helped you learn the Yuuki slack. Thanks for watching.